This video we are going to see about test-driven development in software engineering. Overview of test-driven development. On the repetition of a short development cycle, requirements are converted into test cases. Then the software is improved to pass new tests. Developers apply the concept to improve and debug legacy code development in older techniques. Test-driven development is the process in which the test cases are written before the code that validates those cases depends on repetition of a very short development cycle. Test-driven development is a technique in which automated unit tests are used to drive the testing design and pre-coupling of dependencies. Motto of test-driven development is red, green, and refactor. Sequence of steps is generally followed in TDD or add a test. Write a test case that describe the function completely. In order to make the test cases, the developer must understand the features and requirements using user stories and use cases. Run all the test cases and make sure that the new test case fails. Write the code that passes the test case. Run the test cases. Refactor code. This is done to remove duplication of code. Repeat the above mentioned steps again and again. The process sounds slow and it often can be in the short term, but it does improve the quality of the software project in the long run. Having adequate test coverage acts as a safeguard so you don't accidentally change the functionality. It's much better to catch a bug locally from your test suite than by a customer in production. Final test suites can encapsulate the expectation of your software project so that your project stakeholders can better understand. Iterative process. If you are new to test driven development, remember that testing is an iterative process, much like writing code in general. When writing test, try not to get too stressed about writing the perfect test the first time around. Write a quick test with the information that you currently have and refactor it later. Red, green, refactor is the three phases of test driven development. Red phase. I think this is the most difficult phase because the developer has to write the test against no code. Considering what to test without having code looks difficult, but it's only a mindset shift and nothing more. Most of us adopt it easily and then become habitual of it. You write the first test even without the writing code to declare class and method, so basically your test will not even compile. This is again the same as having test fail. Once you fix the compilation error, then the next is to execute your test to fail it. This is where you get a red flag by your unit test framework. Green phase. Next step is to write the code, but the only code that needed to pass the first test. Compile your code and run unit test framework. This concept of writing just enough code to make a test pass is another philosophical hurdle that developers new to test-driven development sometimes struggle to get over. After the first test passed, you start writing the next test to fail and keep adding the code to pass them. And last one is refactor phase. In the refactor phase, you are allowed to change the code while keeping all tests green so that it becomes better. What better means is up to you. But there is something mandatory. You have to remove code duplication. Removing code duplication is all you need to do. In this phase, you play the part of a picky programmer who wants to fix refactor code to bring this to a professional level. In the red phase, you are showing off your skills to your users. But in the refactor phase, you are showing off your skills to the programmers who will read your implementation. Removing code duplication often results in abstraction. A typical example is when you move two pieces of similar code into a helper class that works for both function classes where the code has been removed. Benefits of test-driven development. Fosters the creation of optimized code and reduce costs. Help developers better analyze and understand the client requirements and request clarity when they are not adequately defined. The addition and testing of new functionalities become much easier in the latest stages of development. Test coverage under test-driven development is much higher compared to the conventional development models. This is because test-driven development focuses on creating tests for each functionality right from the beginning, enhances the productivity of the developer, and leads to the development of a code base that is flexible and easy to maintain. Increase confidence that the code works as expected, improve code patterns, eliminate fear of change. Conclusion. Method to protect production code, process of communication and change, development cycle of shorter life cycle for test and refactor, objective to satisfy requirement.